Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in and humoring me with this video. I just had some thoughts as I was watching this trailer shot by shot, and in summary, I think that the main character is going to be a crow from Antiva, and the first couple of shots are from Antiva, and we'll be following them as they gain their crew of companions and venture to Taventer to stop a ritual or steal an object. I think the crow probably originally has some intentions to double cross the companions, but has a change of heart by the end, and I think that the theme of the story is going to be about, guess what, absolution, with Taventer having needing absolution about slavery, personal absolution between characters, and the overall what's going on with the Veil. Anything that's happening in this story is going to have to establish what the Veil is. There's a threat to the Veil. Taventer has slaves. Taventer uses blood magic. What is magic and what are demons in this world? Because this is going to be for people who are brand new to the franchise and serving to get them interested in the franchise. So that being said, I have an overall shot-by-shot analysis, and I hope somebody finds this entertaining. Let me know what you think in the comments or on Tumblr. And this is not super serious. This is mostly a record, so I know what I get wrong when it comes out. It is like really fortunate that we have this coming out in the age that we have, because it's not just some anime studio was contracted and given a plot and left to their own devices. It was a team that is known for fantasy animation and stories was given a fantasy and a story to animate and worked with the writers, and apparently according to Mark in development for a while in secret. So I think they really did work closely. We are approaching from a lake, this city that is a stepped city. It has a giant statue of Andraste, and it has a giant spire and some sort of palatial grounds at the very top of it, which is where the ritual, the eight-eyed person, and our fight are happening, our big fight. We have a later shot that's from the side that shows that it's surrounded by foothills and lakes, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, and I would love to go there. So we're coming up from the water. There's another shot that's from the side later on. The greenery makes me think not Anderfels, because the Anderfels is super deserty. Anderfels is on the border of Taventer. Who knows? This does look like the city is surrounded on all sides by water, but it's not oceanic necessarily, although it does remind me of places around San Francisco, which is also on a peninsula. This like palatial compound, these fields lined with trees around it, and then we have the rest of the city at different levels with fields, pastures, and like residences. My theory is that each of these grounds, these are sigils, and this purple light, I don't know if it's part of the ritual, like freeze frame blast of it, or if it's just stained glass that looks purple. But the reason why I don't think it's necessarily the ritual is because this light isn't undulating at all or moving. It just looks like stained glass. Spires, no obvious statues of people preaching, so it's hard to place where the later fight comes in. I think that this dragon skeleton, mummified dragon, shackled dragon, the elven corpses, the we're in, and the shot right before we're in is all in the same place. It's underground. I think it's probably under the city. We brought up that we've seen shackled dragons in Dark Fortress from the Blue Wraith comic series, which I believe that dragon was shackled up for blood magic purposes. You could also imagine wardens, if they have some archdemon corpses, might have reasons to shackle them up, or Navarans, if they have mummified dragons or dragons that they're studying, might shackle them up because they could get possessed and come to life, unlife. But I think this is the same shot or same location as those later scenes because it's the blue lighting and dead things. This stepped, very square wall features. This is part of the big confrontation where I think this mage and Hammer Lady are opposed to the, I think it's like 6 protagonists, including our double dagger friend with the eye tattoo. I mean, red magic is bad. Red eyes are bad. Cute Ghibli hair. And we've got this black and gold set of outfits that remind me a lot of Solas's outfit from the cinematic trailer and from Dark Fortress with the one panel that we see Solus in. These people are in the same room as the Ouroboros bracelet thing. They're casting a spell at the 8-eyed person. So this sigil erupts in front of them with a focus at the center of it. Perhaps they're summoning, perhaps they are dispelling, capturing, freeing. And yeah, this looks like a sigil from the game, especially with this droplet that's like spinning off. That's very much like the game. So then we have this purple magic that spills out into this purple force field surrounding that central figure with our mage and our hammer lady in front of it. The square wall decor. We've got the blue lighting and the darkness. This looks like also the same place where the mummified dragon, the elven corpses, and the We're In takes place. So I think that everything we saw is probably leading up to this climax, whatever it is, this confrontation. They're trying to get in to stop this ritual or to steal this artifact, something like that. They have to fight their way through those corpses and go from the bottom to here. And this is me spitballing based off of choreography and architecture and stuff. The scene that comes up with the Venatori, if you go in through that like main cathedral and then you go down or something, they either summon, free, or contain our 8-eyed person in front of this double snake Ouroboros bracelet. This kind of looks like a museum or a sanctuary from a reliquary part of a church, a catacomb, some place of importance and worship. I think it's really interesting that in a prominent place on a pedestal is this artifact floating in the air, which makes me think collection, the object of focus, or part of a ritual. This is a shot of the city from the side. We've got the spire at the top of that cliff. We've got our tiered and slanted city. We've got our lakes and our rivers and our fields and our foothills. So this is the spire. It looks now like it's been the location of a large battle. Lots of magic or big creatures or siege engines that have laid ruin to it. We've got some steeples in the back looking like they're falling over. We've got snakes winding their way around these pillars. Our double dagger friend fighting a Venatori. Establishing shot of our 6 companions. This looks like it might be perhaps down in the valley, the river valley surrounding that city. So maybe they're looking for an entrance into the catacombs to go up from them. It looks like a ruined battlefield, like an ancient battlefield with a giant corpse on it, which I fucking love. At some point, we have an alienage where there's a fight and our Kunari girlfriend is a hero, I think, and saves the alienage elves from something, because I can't see what's on the other side of that fire. One of their fights happens inside this place with the barrels. Later, there's a shot with the Kunari girlfriend blasting magic down the center of it. Looking at this now, that whip is attached to both handles of their dagger. That's so cool. They whip their daggers. That feels like such a crow thing to do. Throw your daggers, have them on a string, pull them back. Glacial Gate is absolutely massive. We have somebody who looks like they have a shield on their back standing in front of the door. We've got what looks like slaves or worshippers along the sides, either pleading or acting in fear. 2 dragons, one on either side of the door, and then what look like griffins. 10 figures, 5 on each side, down at the bottom, moving away from the opening door. These 3 lines, which you see on elven doors in the Temple of Mythal, in Solasan, you see them doubled, where if you count the center line, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spokes on that wheel. They're also on circles that surround the rings in all of the new trailer murals. They're also, I think that's in the Titan Heart mural, as well as the mural of what is probably Solus sealing away the Evnurse in the Black City. So this makes me think this is still Tevinter, maybe with some dwarven craftsmen. This looks a lot like the mosaics that we have of the Magister's Sidereal. But this is a massive door. I love this golden marble and these squares. Golden marble veins is like such a Dragon Age dwarven architecture thing. I adore it. We've also got lightning. You know what's lightning? Pride demon. But I don't think that this is Solus. I don't think that this is a pride demon. I don't think this is anybody who's going to be someone we know. I highly doubt we're going to get a lot of people we know. Are they being contained? Are they being freed? Are they being summoned? Who knows? We got Venatori, a super loyal Venatori concept art translation. What looks like snakes winding around these pillars. I love the architecture in the back. It looks simultaneously Egyptian, Mesoamerican, Moorish. I don't know if this is a flashback or what. You could imagine that this is our eye tattoo friend having a formative experience with magic and remembering it because it's in sepia and it's a memory. Or this could just be like an earlier scene, but they have their eye tattoo notably. It looks like it's the same outfit. Maybe they have a belt with their daggers on it. It's hard to tell. This magic is again purple. We've got purple clouds holding a human on the left and what looks like an elf on the right in place. The blue magic is either attacking or sucking from the human. The elf's clothes look a lot like the Tevinter concept art where you have servants surrounding like a giant magister who's getting dressed or something. Triangles in the architecture and the diamonds in the architecture remind me very, very much of Tevinter in Dragon Age Inquisition. We've got Hammer Lady. I think that her outfit and the mage, the potential baddie mage's outfit, the black and gold, reminds me a lot of Solas's outfit in the teaser trailer and in Dark Fortress. I don't think it's Venatori because there's no triangles. Maybe it's Tevinter Templar. There's on the hammer some sort of sigil insignia that could be the Templar Blade of Hysarion with the flames coming off of it, but it's hard to tell, and there's no other insignia at all on this outfit, so it's hard to tell, and it's funny that she's angry and fighting rage. This is, again, I think they are trying to gain entrance to the place where the elven corpses are, and the dragon corpse is, where this final confrontation with the Ouroboros bracelet are. And they're waiting for their crack thief infiltrator elf person to open the door from the inside, and we're in. Elven corpses are armed, but more than that, they have armor. But I do wonder if these are either elven sacrifices. Are we talking about old god temple with thousands of elves sacrificed under it? Are we talking about an underground elven city that was destroyed by Tevinter or destroyed by the raising of the Veil? Are these Shartan's army and what became of them? That's a whole lot of elves in armor. I don't think that they were necessarily slaves who were used as blood sacrifices, because why would they be in armor? We're back at the place with all the kegs. There is somebody on the ground who might either be companion with the red and white doublet, or it could be a Venatori with that helmet. I can't tell. There's a figure on the left who's dodging. I think there's a figure also on the right. And the reason why I think that this person is a baddie is because the elf is trying to attack them, and I like this elf. Alternately, if we're doing our elf friend might be double-crossing us or something, or have their own agenda, maybe we ostensibly were helping out these people, and then we're turning on them. Also, looking at this staff, I feel like this staff is really familiar. It kind of looks like Malcolm's staff with the naked lady on it. Our blue mage looks like she's fighting in the same place with all of the elven corpses and the dragon corpse because of this wall pattern, but clearly it's either inside or underneath whatever this structure is. I wonder if there's gatlock that she's setting off or something. I think the Absolution is likely, there's probably gonna be a very heavy anti-slavery element to the story. We have a scene in the Alienage, we have an elf in Tevinter. I think they're the only elven character that we saw. Look like they might be a crow with that eye tattoo. It could be lightning, but I think it's probably a crow tattoo. We haven't seen any elves in the comics with anything that looks like brands besides the ones who are being made into lyrium ghosts. While Corypheus does call Velasline brands slave markings in his final battle when he's making fun of Llewellyn, I think that's a callback to ancient Tevinter, what they knew about Velasline. I don't think that's a common practice because we don't see Verania have it. We don't see Fenris have anything besides the lyrium tattoos. And in all of the Dark Fortress Blue Wraith stuff, when they're dealing with slaves, you don't see elves with brands. Delicious has a post where they go through all images we have of Tevinter clothing, and that includes a lot of Tevinter elves, and I don't think any of them have markings that stand out like this. And this looks like a tattoo, not a brand, just because it's blue-black. It's over the eye. It looks kind of like Severin's. I think it's a crow tattoo. Also double dagger. Double dagger. Throwing the dagger. Breaking into places. I think we got a little assassin. And I love them. Covered in blood. I think the red and white is a Lord of Fortune or a mercenary of some kind. I think that's a warden. It's interesting that they kind of look like they may be dressed up into winter clothes. What's interesting is this magic shield that this person is using throws off purple lightning. So the purple lightning might not be an indicator of what the eight-eyed figure is. It might just be this person's magic, because I think this person's magic is being used in the force fields or whatever around the eight-eyed person. Yeah, I think Absolution is going to be about Tevinter to its elves, Tevinter to its slaves. The Anderfell's practice of assassination being called Absolution is going to be relevant. I think that probably Double Dagger is going to have a secret vendetta that at the last minute they will have a moral quandary about, or they'll have like everything in place but then hesitate, or something will, call out to them and they'll have to have had a change of heart that involves an absolution, making something right that once went wrong, stuff like that. That feels like a plot that you would have your morally ambiguous emo assassin character go through, especially if they are the one who does the final battle with this baddie in the centerpiece in front of the Ouroboros. That feels like so much symbolism. It can't not be about that. And I think that the different locations we're getting is probably part of like flashbacks or the very beginning when we're getting character origin stories. Because this first shot, of course, reminds me of Antiva. Navaran concept art has a lot of domes, and there's another like bigger concept art piece that looks a lot like this from an angle like looking this way to the left, where you have a big city kind of set against foothills or cliffs and lots of waterways between buildings and to the left, and it is colorful and it has this spire. I just don't know about anywhere in Navarra because it's mostly landlocked except for Cumberland. Of course, there could be a lake, could be retconned. The lighting in the sky, if you look kind of where the Netflix on the left is, as we come up, there's the cliff edge and there what looks to be the perimeter of a sphere. And I think that is either a very stylized moon or it's a force field. I'm leaning towards moon. It looks like the moon in Elden Ring. It looks like it's got craters and it doesn't look like it's rippling or undulating at all. I think it's probably a companion backstory or intro. If it's taking place in Tevinter, I don't think that we're going to be going far from Tevinter, especially if it's one season. So it looks like this is over water. It could be an effect to make it look like it's over like a salt flat or it's going really fast, but it looks like it's over water. And this red rock rising from it could be the Anderfells, could be somewhere in Tevinter, could be on the border because they share a border. What I find really interesting about this is if you look here, like around this central spire, it looks like, the white city of Gondor has that upper level where it's just like a giant patio or whatever. That's kind of what it looks like. It looks like there's parks or gardens. So this might be a palace or like the Grand Cathedral. You've got a big old spire. I believe that the seat of the Black Divine is called the something spire. So the Argent spire. Argent is silver, silvery white. I feel like this could be an Argent spire. Looking at these red banners at the bottom look very Orlesian. They look like Balrio. I think the only real shots that we have of the Grand Cathedral are from Dawn of the Seeker, which I am willing to completely discount. Like, it's very square. Dawn of the Seeker, I just don't think that it's canon. I don't think that the concept art or buildings really fit with Orlais, let alone ongoing Dragon Age media. I was thinking that this front area might be like reminiscent of the Grand Cathedral, but I don't think so. I thought they did worship Andraste. They just think that she was like a great mage who was touched by the Maker or something. Well, let's double check. Tevinter Chantry. Okay, so the Imperial Chantry's headquarters is the Argent Spire, which is in Minrathous. I think they do recognize Andraste. It's called Andrastianism. Sarian said that he heard the Maker when he killed Andraste. Like, she's at least very exalted. No, okay. So, citation needed on the wiki. It says, while the Imperial Chantry still respects and honors Andraste considerably, they forbid the worship of her that is practiced in the Orlesian Chantry, and instead focus on only worshipping the Maker. There is no citation, though. Yeah, it's weird because, like, the things that are cited about their holy people, like Hessarian, that saga, clearly have like a place of importance. It's entirely possible to have some sort of Andraste symbol. The question is, how much does Tevinter like Andraste, and would they build a giant statue of her? I feel like they might. I'm still on the this is probably in Tevinter side of things, but with Tevinter being on the border of the Anderfels, who knows? Maybe this is at the entrance to the Anderfels. So there could also be Minrathous Greater. And also, like, we could be, like I said, doing companion origins and starting in different locations, like the Anderfels and stuff. I just feel like I love these parks. I love these parks very much. Looks like they could play baseball over here. So I do think that behind this is water. It looks like this place is surrounded by water and that the flight of the bird up to it was water. It does seem slightly more verdant than I think that Minrathous is going to be. Like there's more trees, you know, and like open fields within this city. Even though it's tiered, I think that counts for something. This is just pretty. I think this is a look at the same city because this bit above the E looks like the spire. You have your stepped city. You have water leading up to it. This looks like where Andraste is. I think she's probably sticking out her hands over here, probably. The hills on the background and the fields. Maybe it's Ventus before it fell. And this is the front of the same cathedral. I don't think it's a ruin because it's surrounded by a thriving city with lots of pastures and it looks manicured. It looks like it's rubble, so it looks like there was a fight here. Magic up top. This is back to our other opening shot, set in the courtyard of this place. Here, it is not in ruins. It doesn't look like there's been a fight. It looks idyllic. Here, it's in ruins, and immediately after this shot, we've got Venatori. This is like so true to the Venatori design in all the concept art. Let's look at these wall decorations. These look like snaky boys, which I think is definitely more Tevinter. They're either snaky boys or stylized diamonds, but I think they're snaky boys with their arms crossed. We've got a big fight. Okay, looking at this architecture, first of all, I fucking obsessed with the colors. This looks a lot like a lot of different ancient architecture is supposed to have looked like. A lot of Egyptian architecture is supposed to have been painted and beautiful like that. Mesoamerican Triple Alliance age palaces and buildings used to have these kinds of colors and patterns. I love the windows. Like, this is just me geeking out of the architecture. I love these windows, these diamond windows. They're so pretty. I love this classic anime jump, and then our snaky friend. This is actually a snake, which makes sense with the Ouroboros. We've got two snakes in that Ouroboros. Yeah, we've got two snakes in this artifact. Snakes on these pillars. So I feel like, obviously, this place has a connection to snakes. These doors looks like worshippers coming up the wall. Maybe it looks a little bit dwarven because it's got the geometries, but I would say this is probably still Tevinter. It reminds me a bit of the mosaics, especially the figures. The figures remind me of the mosaics a lot. Like, especially down here at the bottom, these ones that are like moving away from the open door. These three lines. So I have a whole theory about these lines on elven doors. They keep appearing on elven doors, on the doors to Solasan, on the doors in the Temple of Mythal. And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, what are there 8 of? So when I see that, I think usually elves or Tevinter because Tevinter stole everything from the elves. Another thing is look how fucking tiny this guy is. So tiny. Also, this person looks like they have a shield because they're so square. Worshippers going up, people moving away. How many people do we have moving away? 5 on each side. Giant birds, perhaps griffins. Oh, these are dragons. Fade, if we go to the Golden City, I'll eat my hat. These ones up here look like they're really struggling to climb. And what is this? Is this the city? It looks like San Francisco with the bridges. Man, the team just did a very good job of incorporating the Dragon Age motifs. I like this kind of Art Nouveau-ish style. I'm wondering if this person is standing with their hands up. Let's see, how many points are on this star? 8? We've got repeating diamond and triangle motifs here along the left and here, which makes me still think of Tevinter. I wonder. It also isn't symmetrical, which is interesting. These patterns on both sides are not symmetrical. These look like glyphs. Take these glyphs at some point and look at them. The purple by Pride, I think that this is stained glass here. I don't think it's magical light. I think it's stained glass. This architecture reminds me of the Taj Mahal, and all of those monuments are tombs. So that's what this reminds me. If it's a tomb, who's buried in it, or who are buried in it, and what was buried with them? Always the question to ask in tabletop RPGs. Also, look at the statue on the right of somebody preaching. One thing in like tabletop RPGs and RPGs in general, when you have stepped cities, you also have catacombs and stuff. That's like always a thing with stepped cities. All right, this classic. This is a classic giant skeleton sticking out of some water. Like that. It's a rib cage. Giant skeleton. Giant skeleton means big monsters. And this is where they say we're in. So we got a roll call here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 companions. We've got our dual dagger person at the top right. Double daggers. I'm looking at that belt. That's a whip. Is this our elven friend? Yes. Eye tattoo, dagger, cloak, golden eyes, a whip. Our friend with the eye tattoo and the daggers has a whip. I feel like that's a very dangerous thing to know as a Dragon Age fan. Whips have been underutilized in fanfiction. I love this person. I love them very much. This, I think, is a flashback. I think this is a flashback to somebody's first experience with magic or a traumatic experience or something like that. Because it's in sepia. That's why. An elf and a human, I think. That's an elf on the right, human on the left. I wonder, with the hair similarity, because I feel like there's a similar hair thing going on, if it's a parent and this character is their child, maybe they were protecting this person as a child, or maybe this child witnessed them do something terrible. Again, purple magic, purple smoke holding them in place, and then we've got this blue coming between two of them. But whatever age this person is, they have the tattoo. It could also be the same, but it's the same cloak, and I think they have the same belt. We've got our Kunari babe with a big staff. We've got other person with a staff in the center. I think the axe guy is the Duncan lookalike. And then we've got these two I'm not sure about. White-haired Kunari girlfriend. We've got dwarf with an axe, mage, double dagger, 2 other guys. One is a shield. Let's take a look at our companion lineup. I don't think they're the same. I think this shot is a pretty crow. We've got a Kunari, a mercenary, protagonist or hero, although this chess piece actually. I was thinking that maybe this top looks like this top. Maybe it does. I don't think so. Mystery person, bro. I would bet this is another Kunari, Navaran person. Obviously, taking all of this with a grain of salt. The characters will have developed in their design since they were released. Okay, the guy on the left looks really familiar. Kunari girlfriend. Looks like Kunari girlfriend. We're missing the blonde. Where are we? Crow and elf with a staff. And the shot that wasn't in the trailer is another shot of Kunari girlfriend. I think it's from the same sequence. And there's an elven child looking scared in the background. So here our mage looks like she's coming. She has fire on her staff. She raises her arms and the fire goes up. So I think she's setting fire. Fire on her staff or a torch. Fire come up. See if there's something on the other side of that fire. I can't see it. I think this guy has dreads, which is cool. Love his stash. Dwarf with an axe. I think this looks like probably a sword and a shield. This guy, and then I love this staff. Any of them stand out here? Can't tell. Let's look at here. Can't tell. Let's look at... I want to see this playthrough and see if that's magic on his axe and his sword. No, it's just a shine. Let's see what Kunari girlfriend is doing. in the background, this could either be that other guy, this guy, the red and white doublet. He looked maybe knocked out or hurt. Or this could be Venatori. It's hard to tell with the purple cast over everything. Okay, I love his hair so much. I think he has dreads. I think that's awesome. I know what's going on here. Here, they're waiting for their elf friend to let them in. They're in a stony area. It's blue, dark lighting. They look serious. They're waiting. They're probably underground or heading underground. And then our thief friend comes from the inside and opens the door and says, "We're in." And then they're inside, blue lighting place, fighting elven corpses. This looks like lyrium lighting, like actual lyrium lighting, blue lyrium lighting. All these corpses are elven. Some of them are in armor. These don't look like Darkspawn. We've got the dragon. This makes me think of this, right? There's not much to go off of here in terms of architecture. It doesn't even look particularly underground. This looks like maybe it's open to air up top. Like later inclusion of those elven skeletons. I'd bet that this is in options. My thoughts go to Necropolis, Navarra, from an intro, from a companion intro. My thoughts go to some sort of catacombs underneath Minrathous. And my thoughts go to archdemon corpses that supposedly are hidden in Weishaupt. It looks shackled. And I feel like shackles, there's no reason to include shackles unless it's in a place where it was once alive or could still be alive or could become alive. So that makes me think Necropolis, you could have a spirit take over the corpse of the dragon. Or Weishaupt, you could have kept an archdemon or be trying to make an archdemon, trying to study blighted dragons. Or we saw in Blue Wraith, they were keeping a dragon for, I think it was blood magic purposes, right? That's my thought, is like they're very literally in Blue Wraith. Like one of the covers is a shackled dragon and there's a shackled dragon in it. And I think it was for blood magic. If I imagine that there's an infiltration or an invasion that's either the point or the backdrop of this heist. Okay, we got our classic fantasy giant barrels for beer and hobbits. It looks like there's a tripwire hookshot whip, perhaps. These people look like they have been caught in the way. They don't really look like Venatori. The tails, the three tails, remind me of Alexius and Felix's outfits. So maybe Venatori, but not armored Venatori. So here we're back in the barrels. So this is the room where our double dagger friend revealed that they have a whip. They were fighting two dudes in Tevinter clothing and knocking down the barrels. And so we've got our mage girlfriend in the barrel room. I think the same two people, one on the left towards the bottom, one on the right. Perhaps the same people that our double dagger friend was fighting. Our double dagger friend is trying to stop our purple mage friend. This is hot. I love our Esmeralda blue mage. That is a lot of power. That's like insane amounts of power. Well, I wonder, so is this the same building? Because I don't see the spire. Like this is one of the outer courtyards, I think, of our stepped city. I think it's probably over here. Like one of these side ziggurats, domes on the side, and lots of trees lining it. Or this could be elsewhere. It could be a flashback. I just think it's different than this final confrontation building, perhaps. I love these rooms. I like the eyes. Let's look at this purple magic. So I have a whole collection of screen caps of every magic sigil that I've seen in Dragon Age Inquisition that I have yet to go through. Once I get a higher res screen cap, I will definitely be doing that and seeing if this matches up. My immediate instinct is yes, for one specific reason, which is this swoop that comes out is very reminiscent of every single blood magic sigil that we've seen on walls and floors and stuff. Pausing here, looking at this shot, in the background, you have somebody floating in an enclosure of purple light, and you have two figures standing in front of it, at the very least. It's hard to see anything about the architecture around it, potentially a museum of some kind, or a religious vault, or a sanctuary, or something like that. This connects to the later scene where the eight-eyed person is in the cylinder of purple and our friends are looking up at them. This is connecting back to our Ouroboros shot marked pretty clearly. We've got 2 figures in the front, 1 floating in the back in all that purple. 2 figures looking up at all that purple. One of these, I think, is the one who cast the spell. The Ghibli shorn hair, epaulets, these 2 figures. Looking at this more closely. Spreads out beneath their feet, but these 2 figures, it's not actually beneath them, it's beneath whatever's in front of them. So I think the spell is the same location. I think this is the same spell. And I think this person was casting on or summoning or transforming. Whatever's at the center of this, I think, is what turns into or is the 8-eyed figure. I wonder if it's an artifact with somebody sealed in it. I wonder if it's a rift. I wonder if it's a summoning circle. I feel like it's summoning. So this is the figure on the right who cast the spell. Person on the left looks like a guard, perhaps with the shield. Same person maybe. I feel like they set something free, or they trigger a guardian of some kind and then they have to fight it. It looks like it's contained in a force field. Probably 8 eyes. What else has 8? Let's look up close at our pride demon. How many eyes do we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe 2 of those are nostrils, which I've seen people say. Does this guy have a nose? Right off the bat, I don't think it's Solus. Right off the bat. I don't even think it's necessarily Pride. I don't think it's an Evanuris. I don't think it's anything incredibly major important to Dragon Age plot. I think it's important to this plot. But if Solus hasn't featured in any of the short stories, in any of the comics, etc., if they're still writing and developing DA4, they're not going to have Solus appear as like an integral plot element or something that they could fight. I highly doubt that. Okay, so here are my thoughts about spirits and colors. Desire demons are purple and blue skinned. Look at the spirits that are guarding the Elven Mountain Ruins and Trespasser. They're blue and purple. They're very powerful. Spirits who take the shape of elves and were asked to protect an elven space by an elf. Look at the Spirit of Wisdom after All New faded for her. The model was accidentally human. I believe that's been retconned. It was supposed to not look human. It's got that weird green solid glow to it. We've got spirits that are in Virdathara and in Crestwood that are orange, and those are like wisps. They're not very there. Fear demons have cloaks and green aspects. I do think that color relates to what kind of spirits things are, but I don't think that we have hard and fast rules about it, and I think it's more to do with power, where blue and purple are just powerful. Powerful desire demons, powerful pride demons, powerful spirits guarding the Elven Mountain Ruins. I am open to it being a spirit because there was a circle, perhaps a summoning circle. There's all this magic, and it's got 8 eyes. It looks different than a lot of the demons that we see in Dragon Age because we see a lot of ghosty looking ones. But when we fight desire demons and pride demons, they look a lot more solid. When we look at the wisdom spirit in All New faded for her, they look solid. Green, black skin. I don't know what this is. I don't think it's Solus. I don't think it's a pride demon. Perhaps it's a spirit that they're summoning or a guardian that was tied to something. We also don't see ears. Okay, there's purple magic crackling along it. And I do think that it's just the lighting. I don't think there's anything that's lighter or darker about the top half or the bottom half. Hear me out. Our hammer lady, this outfit. It's interesting, and I love our Rage Demon friend. I love them very, very much. Somebody mentioned maybe she's a Templar. We don't see her smite. We don't see Chantry insignia on her or the Mage Companion. There is some sort of sigil on that hammer. Maybe it's Templar. Maybe it's the Sword of Hissarion with the flames coming off of it, but nothing else on her except anger. It's funny, she looks super angry fighting a Rage Demon.